So we're just going to go through a couple of examples of how we can combine some of these rules of sum and rule of product to deal with more complicated counting questions. So in this first question, maybe 2 days late or so, George is going to dress as a cowboy or a clown for Halloween. If he dresses as a cowboy, he's got to choose from 3 hats, 2 pairs of boots, 4 shirts, and 3 pairs of jeans. Right, that's what a cowboy wears. If he dresses as a clown, he has to choose from 6 wigs, 2 suits, or 3 pairs of oversized shoes. How many different costumes could he wear? So to figure this out, we need to break apart the information and break it down to how George is going to make these decisions. So ultimately, decision 1 is going to be, what is he dressing as, right? He can't just go and jump into choosing like his cowboy shirt. As soon as he starts choosing shirts, he's chosen a cowboy, for example. So step 1 is cowboy versus clown. Now, from there, though, everything changes. And so I had said before that if you're using the rule of product, if you want to just do a string of multiplication to figure out these numbers, then none of those numbers can depend on the numbers before. But if he chooses clown, it's a whole different combo of numbers than if he chooses cowboy. So we do have to break this up with that or. So we're going to split it into 2 cases. And so case 1 is going to be the cowboy. Maybe I'll actually write that in black. Yeah, so if he chooses the cowboy, then what he's got to do now is pick these 4 items that he's going to put in his collection. So if he chooses cowboy, it's going to be, doesn't really matter what order he's choosing it in, but it's going to be hat, then boots, then shirt, then jeans, right? So like he can't dress up as a cowboy and not be wearing pants, right? There's no ors between any of these words. These 4 things go together to make the costume. And so it's now just using the words then to imply multiplications. We would do one action, then the next. And there's 3 hats, 2 pairs of boots, 4 shirts, and 3 pairs of jeans. So for the cowboy costume, specifically, there's 6 times 12, there's 72 cowboy costumes. And for the clown costume, remember there's a big or between that. So same thing for the clown costume. The numbers are all different, so we do have to treat them separately. So I'm going to choose my wig. Then I'm going to choose my suit, those big, ridiculous clown suits. And then I'm going to choose my shoes, or George's shoes. And so just those numbers, there's 6 wigs, then 2 suits, and then 3 pairs of shoes. And because of that word then in between all of them, it's a big multiplication. So what we've got here is 6 times 2 is 12, times 2 is 3 is 36 clown suits. And then we've got this word or between it, which means plus. So it's either one of the 72 cowboy costumes or one of the 36 clown costumes. Sorry, I wrote suit again there. But one of the 36 clown costumes. So in total, that's 72 plus 36 is 108 different costumes. So just from those numbers of arrangements that can possibly be made here. Okay, the second example is going to be a different way that we can combine some of these rules. So Wilbur's got 1 winter coat, 2 pairs of boots, 5 pairs of mittens, and 3 different red toques for different blue toques. How many different ways can he dress for winter, assuming that he's got one of each of these objects on him. And so again, we need to sort of piece together the action that's going to go into Wilbur getting dressed. So if we just sort of assume that the order in which he puts things on doesn't really matter, the first thing he's going to do is put on his coat. And then he's going to put on his boots. And then he's going to put on his mittens. And then, because he already put on his mittens, he's going to struggle a little bit, but he's going to put on his toque. So he's not going to wear two toques, right? He's not going to wear a red toque and a blue toque. That's crazy. He's going to just wear a toque. So what we're going to have here, because of this action of then between everything, there's no word or here to describe this. It's going to be the number of options for the coat, which is 1. And then the number of pairs of boots, which would be 2. We're assuming he's not going to wear mismatches. The number of mittens is 5. Now for the toque, though, he actually has 7 different toques. So it's actually going to be 3 plus 4 here. And that's our rule of sum, because it's red or blue. So yeah, so that's our rule of sum. So it's actually going to be 1 times 2 times 5 times 7. You could split it into 2 completely distinct cases and say the number of ways he could dress with red toques plus the number of ways he would dress with a blue toque. But what you'd see is it's actually just going to be sort of distributing or pulling apart the 3 plus 4 algebraically. It's the same number. So no matter how we count this, we should be getting 10 by 7 is 70 different ways. But really the gist of this is that you should be looking for things where your tasks are getting broken up into cases or broken up into the word or. Yeah, really all of this comes down to is if you can parse your actions by a sequence of thens or ors, and then how we arrange that. And if you're able to do that well, you'll be able to put the numbers in the right place and get the right totals. You'll count correctly. So those are, yeah, our basics of counting.